Okay, hello everybody. My name is Craig Blanchette. I'm a global director, and this is our weekly health coach huddle. I'm super excited today for what we're going to do. We've got some coaches that are on our team that have just really found their groove with health coaching and have built a huge organization. And so we're gonna bring them on and celebrate them as the first presidential directors that are part of our big group. And so we get to cozy up with the Prestenbachs this morning for a little bit of time. Then we're going to switch off to some health coach training with Diane, Kim, and Daniela, doing a little review and continuing the series that we've been doing on building that skills and the whole piece of being able to bring a client on to having those meet and greet conversations and really connecting them to our coaching community, and then moving to the next piece. And so we're going to be talking about that. And then if you want to hang around for the Take Shape for Life University, we're going to be covering chapter 14 today, which is the actual title is called Introduction to the Habits of Motion System. So but without further ado, it's my pleasure really to bring on Harold and Sam Prestenbach from Louisiana. Welcome, Harold and Sam.
Hey guys, great to be here. Good to see you guys. All these familiar faces, love it.
Yeah, the health coach page was lighting up. They're like, I can't wait to see these guys again. And
that's why I'll see you guys soon in Dallas. So
yeah, I know, right? Yep, that'll be great. So I have just a couple of questions just to kind of kick things off and, introduce you to folks that some of these people, some of the faces I'm sure are familiar to you, but some of them might not be. And I remember, how long ago do you guys, it's like 5 years? Four, 5? Something like that. Yeah. And,
Ish.
Yeah. So if y'all think it's because in Terry's mind, we've only been actually coaching for 4 years, but
right.
That from the point that we right?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what we're doing that first year? But I remember the first time I met you guys, Alex introduced us, and I think he was caught in a meeting, and so it was sort of like I was interviewing Sam, and it was just Sam and I on the phone, and Harold was going to come in a little bit later, and I was in my car in front of a Starbucks. I just remember the whole conversation, and we were just talking about getting you on as a client and kind of experiencing the program, and there was some resistance kind of early on, like, I'm not sure. I'm curious just to kind of go back to that, because a lot of people that are thinking about coaching or brand new to coaching probably have similar feelings about it. So can you take us back there and kind of walk through that in your mind?
Yeah. Well, Harold was in the background, guarding, watching or listening, as he usually does, discerning. And so we had already made a career in health and fitness, and we sort of kind of felt like we had arrived, and not to like pat our backs or anything, but we were well known in our community, and so definitely came to the table with a huge ego, to be quite honest. Not really well deserved, just is what it was, at the time. And the health and fitness community outside of Take Shape for Life is pretty vain and really set on image, what things look like, not just the physical body, but the programs that you're doing. How hard is your training? How hard is your nutrition plan? And so what really honestly made me get on the phone that day with you, Craig, was that Alex knew I was trying to vlog. I was trying to write an ebook. I was really looking for a way that I could still make an impact, but make income too. And I wanted to be home with my babies. So honestly, if I didn't know that there was an opportunity there, one, to help me and my family and to bring me with having more time with my beautiful girls, but still also help people, I would have probably never gotten on the phone. And that would be sad. That would have been extremely sad. But that
would have been a tragedy.
It would have been a complete tragedy because, as I look back, I told, our mentors, thank you for everything, because if it wasn't for that phone call that day, we would probably be living a pretty average life. right here, right now. And not that average is not good, but I didn't even know that there was an opportunity beyond the meal replacements and the, the habits of health. But so anyways, when we were talking and as he kind of rolled that out, I heard something that I did not want to be a part of, or so I thought. I heard meal replacements, and I go, I'm sorry, Craig, I don't think you know like who we are and what we do, but I cannot do that, and I cannot recommend that. And I cringe because those were my exact words to, I didn't know Craig, shame on me, but he was, very well known in health and fitness and the Olympics. But there I was, we opening my mouth.
We were selling protein powders in our gym all day long. We were selling bars in our gym all day long, but we had an issue with this.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is the bars that we had, we would have to tell our clients only eat half because it was too much protein and too many calories for a meal, so it was craziness. But you know what, the thing that I think, Craig, Craig was patient. He was respectful, even though he totally could have rose up and said, yeah, but I know this and I've done this, and he didn't. He listened, he asked questions, and he got me to that second call where I said, okay, well, there's people we want to help, but if I'm going to do this, I got to try it myself first. And he didn't just say, okay, buy the kit. He said, well, what is it that you want, Sam? And I will never forget, nobody had ever asked me that about my own health. I had never been treated like just a peer in health and fitness since we became personal trainers. And it was so refreshing. And I remember getting kind of emotional and just saying, you know what, Craig, I just want something to be easy for once. And I'm crying.
Yeah. When you said, I remember you saying too, Sam, you said, I spend all my time in the kitchen on the weekends and I'm just tired of being married to the kitchen. I was like, okay, well, I think we can probably help with that. I was pretty new at the time too, though. So I was like, well, this is really exciting. And I remember when you started working on it and you called me up, and I hope I don't embarrass you here, but after 2 weeks on the program, your body started changing the way it looked in places that it didn't normally change with exercise. And you go, Craig, this is really working out well. And Alex McMillan, by the way, he actually sponsored you guys and brought you in, but he was running a gym of his own. So I was sort of kind of, that's the community coaching aspect that we offer here. And so I was kind of helping out and coaching you, and I wasn't sure where it would go, but you go.
Well, and let me add, when I didn't want to take him forward, I'd call Alex on the side and I'd just be like, so Alex, what's this whole low calorie thing about? And he'd shed some wisdom or whatever. So that's kind of how that worked too.
Yeah. Well, you go, so I didn't know about that, but you said one thing that was pretty interesting. You go, well, this is working out. I mean, this is actually working pretty good. And my body's changing. And I'm like, okay, well, what's that? She goes, well, my butt is changing shape. And you go, my butt, Craig, my butt. And I was just like, it was just so funny. And I'm like, great, your butt, good. And it was just so candid. It was so real and I just love that. So as we're talking about that, you went from lift, because you guys owned a gym, and then you went lift, kind of Take Shape for Life and lift. And then now it's just Take Shape for Life. Can you kind of walk us through sort of the progression there?
Well, yeah. So once I got bought into it, when that butt started shaping up, no, I'm sure. once she that piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And then we said, all right, let's help a handful of clients that have really been struggling within our gym, and we just couldn't help them through what we were doing. Alex made me realize we were pretty one-dimensional in our approach. No matter how well designed it was and how well it would work, if the majority wasn't able to do it, on a consistent basis, it wasn't serving them well, sitting in their car on a piece of paper or at the grocery store. So that opened my eyes, and I said, all right, Sam, here's a few people. Let's go help these people. They've been clients of ours, loyal for 3-4 years, spending thousands of dollars a year with us. Let's work with them. So she worked with them kind of on the down low. We didn't launch it to the whole club. And all of a sudden they just started shrinking. They started getting victories that they've been yearning for years. So people started asking in the gym. So we rolled it out to the gym. And
I think too, like the thing was that also piqued our interest is that we did a ton of work promoting the studio. And one of the reasons why it was semi-successful was because we spent a ton of time promoting, a ton of time giving. And the only thing we ever got paid on, especially being a personal training studio, was our time in training with clients.
Right.
So all the other additional stuff we did, the meal plans, the hours of writing meal plans, which I love nutrition, but, you know, and quite honestly, Zone worked the best for me out of everything. And we love the paleo lifestyle as well. But I'm telling you, we have papers and papers of just breaking down the macronutrients per serving, per meal. It was a nightmare, quite honestly. It's good to have a base knowledge to be able to do that, but to do that all day long, six times a day, and then to try and teach that to people. But the next thing that really turned our head was, of our first 5, one of the individuals that only ever could lose 5 to 10 pounds, gain it back with our meal plans, lost 35 actually. And several of those lost over 100 in actually under 6 months. And so, and then not to even mention people coming off of their insulin. Like, I mean, my family is just riddled with diabetics. I'd never, ever seen that, you know, blood pressure, cholesterol. And why we do what we do is because we love people and we love helping people get healthy. So it became undeniable. But there's some of my Take Shape for Life besties in here that we sat in our first convention ever together. And at that moment, we knew like this could be something big, that far bigger than honestly I think I could comprehend at the time. But I think you definitely caught a bigger vision before I did when you said.
Well, yeah. As we started converting clients, getting results, Sam, I think, told Craig or maybe Alex, said, yeah, this is good. This is going to help our clients, but we're never going to start sponsoring coaches. Like, we're just not going to do that thing. And yeah, so I think what really piqued my interest, like, this is cool. We're getting some results, and we're walking billboards, help us sell training, you know, personal training, and grow our gym. And then all of a sudden we got to, you know, the results were cool, but then also we got a check in the mail. I think it was $750 before direct deposit. And I was like, wait a minute, what? I'm writing meal plans and they're not even getting to people's car before they get in the trash can. I said, for nothing. I said, you're making $750 and there's people actually getting results. So I think, I'm not sure who our first coach was. I will say, so I'll run you guys through, if you ever do approach a gym, we went about it the wrong way. And we kind of willed it upon our, or
we were so excited, honestly, that we just staff meeting. Oh my gosh, we're doing this amazing thing. It's going to make coaching clients on nutrition so much easier. And all of it's true, but you know,
they weren't bought in.
Yeah.
There was pretty much just, so anyway, they all became coaches.
We sponsored like 7 coaches right away. And for most Take Shape for Life people, I'll tell you what, they think it was like a dream team. It was all the trainers and chiropractors. No. we signed them up quick. They were out the door quick.
Yeah, and we only say that just to encourage you guys, because I think the first 15 coaches we signed up, I don't think 12 of them are even in it.
We had started over like completely, you know. But I think the thing was honestly, thanks to Craig and Alex, consistently encouraging us to attend events and stay connected, that we realized along the way, like, oh wait, you know, we need to come down to beginner level. We need to check our systems. We need to do this the new way and actually unlearn what we thought we knew about business, really.
But to stay on task with what Craig said, so that was the evolution of that. We started sponsoring coaches, and then we just fell in love with it when we went to convention. I think Alex pretty much bullied me to go to convention pretty much, and I love him for that, because I was one of those. How many of us on here have said, use what's the word we would always use? Yeah, I might be able to make it. Or yeah, I might do that.
I'll try.
Or I'll try.
I'm going to look into it.
Yeah, I'm going to look into it. I think I might be able to go or something. Never committing. So I said that to him like months before. And then 2 weeks before convention, he said, hey, you said you were going to go. What's up? I was like, nah, we just spent a lot of money on vacation and this and that. And Yeah, he pretty much bullied and said, well, if you want this, this, and this, and everything you said you want, you might want to go, in a nutshell. So leap of faith, we went, and I've seen the heart of the company, as many of you who've been to convention have seen. I've seen normal people. Remember, we had an ego for being in the fitness professionals. So I saw normal people creating a lot more change than we were creating. And that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it perplexed me or struck my ego a little more to say, wait a minute, what's going on
Probably
here?
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I'm up for a challenge. So I said, well, I need to find out more what they're doing. So we went to convention as a senior coach a year in. So we weren't no out the gate people like some of you might think. We went to convention a year later, roughly, as a senior coach. After convention, we were inspired because it's just a shift. It's just a mind shift, guys. We went ED the next month, and then we just built.
Yeah.
So that turned in, Craig, to your story. Last year, this May will be a year since we sold our gym. It just made sense. I think our first mission was to get Sam home because we started having more kids, and she wanted to be home. So she said, what will it take to get me home? I wrote a number on a piece of paper. We put a plan together. We got it done 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
And then she said she was enjoying it. She realized I was missing a lot of time with my kids. So she said, what will it take to get you home? I wrote a number down, and we did that 12 months later. And that's the story.
Yeah, I guess we've been in it so long, there are so many different milestones,
Mm-hmm. I remember Harold asked me one time, he says, what's a global director make? Like for reals? Because this is what I need. And it was like come over here. Let me talk. It was at one of the conventions. And I said, well, I don't know what all of them make. I mean, you see the averages, but here's what my checks are. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. He goes, okay, well, let's go global, And it was like, and now presidential, I'll have to ask you, what's a presidential really make, right?
We'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I want to just toss this out. We've got a few more minutes. We're gonna transition to our training at 9:30, and we're gonna skip the TSFL University today, just because we want a little more time with you. But I know Kim's here. I know there's a bunch of faces that you guys know. Alex is here as well. But I just wanted to give you guys a chance to ask a question. I'm going to toss it to Alex first and just let him take the stage here.
Yeah. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, right on. I'm hoping my internet signal will stay strong enough. How's it coming through? Pretty good?
Good. Yeah, we can hear you.
Right on. Well, first off, I just want to say, you guys know this. I've already said it to you guys personally. But wow, so excited because I do remember that bully conversation after Terry Miller got a hold of me by the neck and said, how many people do you have going to national convention? And I was like, just jilling myself. She's like, you have how many coaches now? I said, well, we have 4 coaches. And we had some other ones just like Harold and Sam where we made our trainers kind of take shape for life coaches, and none of them worked out. But I said, I have 4 people that have the vision and are committed. And this was like a week before national convention or a week and a half or something like that. And she said, Alex, just like Harold said, she said, do they trust you? Do they love you? Do these people like you? I'm like, yeah. And she says, you're gonna need to bulldog them or pit bull them, she said. And just so I'm saying this because I want everybody on this call to recognize that Harold and Sam, just like they said, weren't fully committed people. They had a lot of concepts, just like all of us can. They had success out of the gate, then it went down, and then it went up, and it went down. And they were oscillating back and forth. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Anybody ever have a business that grew a little bit and then came back? You lost that energy and passion. And I remember when Terry leaned into me and she says, Alex, here's what you don't know. You don't know what I know yet, but do you trust me? This is what Terry Miller said. And I said, I do, Terry. I was like, what you guys have done, as Harold said, as lay people, like when I say lay people, us fitness professional people and health professional people think that we've got it all figured out. Well, here's a Mary Kay cosmetic gal and a UPS truck driver who hadn't, I don't forget their money. They make a ton of money, like ridiculous amounts of money. They care about people. And I saw that in them, and they had impacted and influenced thousands and thousands of lives. And I respected that here is a Mary Kay person and a UPS truck driver who in my ego business have no business being able to make that kind of significant impact in people's health, right? And that shifted for me. And so I said, Terry, I trust you. And I oh, my little girl wants to say hi. You say hi to everybody? Mm-hmm. Thank you, honey. Got my earplugs. So here's why I wanted to come off and say this. And I know we have a limited time. Is that anybody who's got doubt in their mind that you can't grow this or be successful or personally break through, just know this. Here I was, totally trusting Terry. I said, Terry, I will say and do whatever it is that you say to say and do. She says, here's how it goes. And I went through it 5 times with her. I remember Jill sitting next to me. She goes, you're really going to say that? I'm like, I'm going to say that. And I remember that conversation with Harold and Sam. And then, and I had it with them. And then Diane had Daniela, who just became a coach, like barely. I don't even know if she was a coach yet. She was a client about to become a coach. And then we had a conversation with Daniela in a coffee shop. Then I had a conversation with my friend Vito, who was non-committal. Then I had a conversation with, we had Diane Thompson. And long story short is, all 4 of the coaches, because of that, said yes to going to national convention. Okay. And they all, within a week and a half, we got a long time before national convention. This is my plug to say it's time for all of us to be there with people. And out of those 4 people who went to national convention, 3 of them are regional. There's a regional director, an integrated national, and a presidential. The other one is very successful in the other company that he decided to do, which is great. But he caught the bug on this too. He really saw the vision of impacting people. Craig Blanchett, who's I just want to say this, and I know we're talking about Harold and Sam, but there wouldn't be Harold and Sam where they're at without Craig Blanchett, as you guys caught this. I didn't know much about how this business really worked. It was still a tactical thought process in my head. How this team has happened is because Terry and David poured into Craig, or into the people who poured into Craig. Craig poured into me, and then I plugged back into Terry and David. And between Craig and Terry and David, they helped build this team that the Prestenbachs have. Because when I first got in this, all I had with them, and this is all you have to have, this is the key, I had a relationship with Harold and Sam. That was my in with them. As far as the business skills and how to build the Take Shape for Life business, I didn't have that. Craig had the how to properly structure and follow up and follow through. I didn't have that. I was still learning those skills. David and Terry had the deep-seated belief of what this business really is. And so if I did anything good, and I say this humbly, I made sure that I did not get in the way of the people that I was bringing in my mentorship. And I want to say, here I am standing in with my family on a 10-day vacation in California, and this team has grown. We had our best month ever while I was on vacation, because of team, and all of you guys who have poured into me to show that truth. I know that's a little extra time, but I just wanted to say amazing, phenomenal. I can't say anything better than what Harold and Sam and Craig and everybody has said. So thank you all for letting me be a part of this.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, great stuff. Thank you. Do you guys have, we have a few minutes left here. I'm curious about if you guys have maybe just some congratulations, or if you have a question. We have, you know, our friends, and now they're presidentials, which doesn't really change too much. I mean, it's just you're helping more people, but it's still Sam and Harold, right? We call them Harold and Sam, or Ham. So that's the Ham team. But do you guys have a question for them? Some of you guys that are new, or some of you guys have been around a while. Go ahead and ask. You have to unmute yourself first, though. I mean, I actually want you to think about, like, is there something that, like, oh, I wish I knew that, or did they really do this that way, or how did this really happen? Because this is just us. We can really ask that question now.
Yeah. Oh, interesting question.
So I'll ask a question. First of all, I just Big hugs and love on you guys. I'm so excited for you. And I remember that first convention together, and it will be a story that remains with me forever. But my question to you is, what would be your maybe top tip or two in terms of your experience with embracing structure and bringing that into your team?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we've been plugging this hard into our team lately because as resistant as people are to structure, structure is freedom. Once you embrace it, it's freedom. So at first it's gonna appear like a hassle to do a map, to work a wellness evaluation, or well, you can expand on how we've been implementing that through.
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, the hardest part for me first was that I had to do it myself. That was the hardest part. Honestly, I wish I knew how many conversations I had with Alex about when talking about early on why I was missing some of my goals and stuff. And he'd say, well, why do you think that's happening? And I'd say, well, Alex, I think it's because I don't structure my client support and I don't have a binder, because I love people so much, but I just wanted to kind of just be all over the place, and be mom and health coach, and how many times he asked me that, and how many times I remember the last time I said it, and I told myself, well, this is the last time you can say that. And we had, and when we started, we didn't have Zooms and videos and stuff. Craig brought that in. And then as he caught traction with it, he brought it to leadership, and then they started giving us trainings, which is great because we're all the way in Louisiana, and our mentorship team is in Oregon and Washington. So I remember hanging up the phone that day and realizing I can teach nothing that I don't do myself. Except for the rare individuals that are very natural, not rare. I mean, everybody's got different personalities, but those individuals that are very analytical and already naturally structured, sure, I could send them a video and they'd probably just do it because that's how their brain operates. But then the rest of us that our brain doesn't, they need to know that there's people like them, like me, who resisted every single little bit of that, from getting on to leadership calls to team Zooms, and how many times Harold had to remind me about the Friday call, and how many times Alex had to message me to ask me to take my video off and show my camera, or how many times Craig had asked me to speak up, believe it or not, that I realized I had to go finally down the checklist and say, well, are you doing that? Are you doing that? Are you doing celebration calls with your mentor? Are you doing the map? Are you using the map?
Well, and I think I think you guys will benefit from this is that we used to cram all this down people's throat right out the gate. You got to get your map done. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. And they're just like a deer in headlights. And some people won't even tell you. Some will tell you, whoa, that's too much. And that's good because then you can know where they're coming from. But most people won't say anything. And they'll just fade away, or they'll just, I'm trying, or I'm doing, and they're just overwhelmed. The paralysis by overanalysis of all this tools and resources. So now, what we do, where we used to bring on 10 coaches, and one would go senior, and the rest would just fade away. Now we can bring on 5, and 3 of those will go senior. Like, we've caught a rhythm. Because now the first and most important thing we do is work the structure, work the coach, the celebration calls, work them to a coach explore, work them to a meet and greet, and then boom, no resources, no tools, no nothing. Just do the action to acquire the 5 clients. Yeah. No map, no nothing.
Very little videos. And then learn to read people's personalities. If you sit back, and it's so hard for us to, especially once you learn these skills and the structure, like you want to just be like, okay, here it all is, and you're going to love this because guess what? I used to not do this, and this is how it made my life so much better. But at that moment, all they know is, I know probably everybody hears the word overwhelm a lot. You probably feel it yourself. And I know how many times I talked to Craig and Alex about that. And then you're hearing it from your coaches. And when you grow to a certain level and you get used to it, you forget what it felt like in that moment to be a senior coach with these brand new clients asking all these questions. And, you forget what it's like to be an ED with a robust front line and a new coach or something. And so it's so important to remember, don't be fearful of overwhelming people, because we have to coach them through that and help them see it as opportunity, but also to remember spoon feed, like those two words, and you increase. Some people eat faster, and some people eat slower, but to definitely just stay in constant communication, plug in, and move at their pace, not ours.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you. Diane, you had a question. Go ahead.
I do. First of all, congratulations, both of you. I just remember so vividly that national event. I think all of us had tears at some level. It was a very emotional time, and I think that feeling keeps driving me. You said something, Harold, though, because you said you started with a team of a lot of trainers, and most of them are gone today. And most, 3 or 4 of us on this call right now are from those kind of professions, health related. And, sometimes I think we treat them as magical. They're going to move our businesses to a certain level. And I know that's not true, but there are those of us who get that vision when it's introduced properly. So I was hoping that maybe you could share some tips how to best approach trainers, nutritionists, medical doctors, chiropractors.
Yeah, well, we've actually, so we're starting to, we kind of stayed away from it, honestly, when we went global. Because it was just a mess. It was like, we don't want none of that right now. Let's go with these people. They get it. They're inspired. Let's work with them. It was easier. But now that we've got a little more experience under us, we're starting now to, I guess, pique interest from other people in the fitness industry in our area. And we're more confident. So for instance, we just brought on a gym member from another state in Baltimore who because of the conversation and because of what you said, they get it. They're forward thinking. They understand that so I have a certain conversation I have with them. I'm happy, Craig, to get on with anyone who has a gym professional that wants me to get on with them and have a conversation with them, because it's a 20, 30-minute conversation that I take them through. And I really just overcome objections that I know they have before they even say it. I know everything they're going to say, especially if they're gym owners. So I don't have enough time to expand on it here, but I overcome those objections. To give you one little liners, I really don't know of any one liners, but I will say, if you do find someone who is forward thinking and open to it, who is a fitness professional, nutritionist, all those things, they can go big because they have a huge influence and a sphere of influence. Yeah.
I think the thing was, from your perspective too, would probably be appealing to what the need was. Not, here's how this can make things so much better for you, but rather, what do you love about what you do, and what do you need maybe some help with, or some, some more, or piecing some things together.
Well, so I'll tell you this. So one of the biggest things that you can ask, so this is a go-to for me, is once I'm having a conversation with them, say, well, what interests you to, about what we do, or what do you want to know more about? And then I'll circle back to say, well, what is it that you guys do that is great? Let them puff up a little bit. And then I go and, not to deflate them, but then I go and say, okay, so I don't hear anything about nutrition, I promise you. So then I'll say, so how do you, how's your nutrition department serving you? How are the results in your clients serving you? And they usually can't answer that. So anyway, we're running out of times. I'd happy if you guys want to ping me, I'll help in any way. So
yeah. Thank you so much, guys. It's such a blessing to see you guys have grown, and really, they talk about this push-pull and inspiring us and stuff like that. And, technically or practically, I hit global a little bit before you, and now you guys, then you hit global, and now you guys have moved to presidential ahead of me, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Let's get on this. It's awakened me in a good way. And so I love that healthy competition of competing with you, not against you. And
I just want to jump in and say, Craig, you're so right on there. I just want to jump in and just say something about Diane's question that I think is relevant to all of us. She talked about ask how you approach a fitness professional. or a health professional, and Harold and Sam are talking about, their success. Just remember this though, these are human beings, and they have personal interest and desires that they want to accomplish, whether it's professional or whether it's just philanthropically or just because they care about people. But if you approach a fitness professional, health professional who doesn't really care about people, there's nothing you can do to help move this person on. As Harold and Sam talk about the Gaffneys and the other people that they've aligned with, these are people who actually care about other people, and they have a big dream for their own life that they want to accomplish something, and they're frustrated because what the vehicle they in can't fully fulfill that. And when you get past the ego of the profession, you still have to have that prerequisite that these are people who care and have a circle of influence. So if you are going to approach anyone, whether it's health professional, fitness professional, and this is something that maybe Harold and Sam, you guys can talk to it another time because we are short on time. You guys are bringing a lot of people on who are moving quickly. So my guess is that you know who to look for now. You're okay. So can you guys just give like 30 seconds on that? Because you don't just go up to any health professional, any fitness professional and expect,
Yeah, one, I'm going to be quite honest. I stalk people on Facebook, not stalk, but before I have a conversation, I go look at them. I try to get to know them prior and see, do they have kids? What are their hobbies? Are they posting positive? Are they posting negative? Do they have a strong faith? Do we have things in common? And also the tactical thing of checking out their Facebook friends too. Our 10th ED, new ED, she went ED in 2 months, and she has over 3,000 Facebook friends. She ministers to people in recovery and herself a decade of recovery, and she has an incredible impact. I knew instantly this is a woman who has a heart for people. This is a woman that knows how to pour into people, and she's on fire for program. And that's really important. There's always an exception to every rule, but I've definitely learned that I can't drag anyone across the line. They've got to be in love with this program, like we fell in love with it. And they've got to have some kind of circle or desire to grow.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing. So there's little things that you got to pick up with, obviously little characteristics, but if they're not willing to, for instance, post a before and after picture or change their profile pic or write a little story on, I'm using social media as an example, then they're basically saying they're going to live a life of obscurity, which means to be unseen, unknown. Therefore, how are people going to know that they can help them? Yep. You got to think about that. So just let them say their. I don't want to say that. Talk to Craig and them, but more about that.
But I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, Craig. I want to thank. Sorry. It's hard, guys, sometimes, but you push through, and you will literally blink your eyes and be like, "Oh my God, is this my life?" It's amazing. So push through the hard times, okay? Thank you, guys.
Wow, thank you guys. So good to have you guys. We'll have to have you back on every once in a while and share the stories of the stories of the presidential, Prestenbachs, right? That sounds good. Presidential Prestenbachs.
I love it. Guys, for joining us. Those tears at the end from Sam, you guys, it's so easy to hear. You guys got to know that what you just heard was the tip of an iceberg story. What you don't know is the pain underneath this and what they had to go through personally in their marriage and in their family. I'm talking financial issues, stress, death, brink of divorce, all kinds of stuff that you do not know that you get. And I'm just giving you a teaser that you want to get to know these guys, the truth. So it's amazing.
Thank you all. I hope you guys are inspired by their stories. Hope you're inspired by the reality that they built their business not with going after professionals. They tried that. And they just went after people that were clients that were having success. And these people became champions. And I don't know, great stuff. So thank you guys. I'm going to kick it over to Kim Stewart, and she's going to roll out with our training this morning. So Kim, I'll unmute you.
Thank you. Actually, Diane, did you want to start us off?
Dan said to kick it to you.
Yeah, I thought that's what we planned, but that's all right. There's a lot of noise back there. Can you hear that noise?
Yeah, I think it was on Kim. So you got the floor, Diane.
Okay. Well, last week, who remembers what the topic was? It was on referrals, right? And creating opportunities for building our clients' support. And the